Good evening. Welcome to Politically Incorrect, Friday edition. Here's who we have for you tonight. Rachael, Leigh, Cook. Good for you. You have a big new movie coming out, Scorched. You're just back from what? Just back from Cannes, plugging it. It's with Woody Harrelson and Alicia Silverstone.
Yes.
Thank you for being with us one more time.
You.
Little Richard, the creator, the emancipator, the constipator, the I can't believe it says you're retiring at the end of the year.
After this year.
That's ridiculous.
This is my last
I am
year.
going to convince you tonight not to retire. You must continue.
Ooh-wee.
Lauren Kitchens, you're the host of the LA Daily Morning Radio Show, Ted and Lauren in the Morning on FM 95.9. And Bryan, Cranston, you are back one more time. Thank you so much. You steal the show every week on Malcolm in the Middle. Give a hand to our panel if you would. Okay, well, you know, folks, this week something truly frightening happened in the war on terrorism, and I don't just mean Dionne Warwick getting through airport security. No, I'm talking about the revelation that there are American citizens born and raised here in our own country who had joined up with and been fighting for Osama bin Laden. Native sons like Jose Padilla, a converted Muslim of Puerto Rican descent who plotted against this country and planned to dirty bomb our capital, all in a desperate attempt to win back Madonna. Now, please, I could make jokes about Hispanic terrorists all night long. For one thing, their car bombs never have insurance. But, you know, that would just make the problem worse, because if every ethnic group with legitimate beef about their treatment in America converted to radical Islam, we would be in deep Shiite. I mean, just consider the tons of crap that has been dumped upon blacks in America, and I don't just mean R. Kelly's girlfriends. I'm talking about enslavement, segregation, and having to watch Halle Berry make out with Billy Bob Thornton. And it doesn't end there. Japanese Americans were rounded up and thrown into internment camps during World War II. Although I'm not that concerned about them steering planes into buildings, we've all seen them drive. And
It's not funny.
And what about the Indians, who are still essentially living in internment camps in America? Not so much the reservations, the casinos. Hey, if anyone could justify attacking Manhattan, it'd have to be the people who had it stolen from them for $24 in trinkets. But on the eve of this Flag Day 2002, I would just like to say to all our minorities, especially in those places that may foster hate for America, like prisons, ghettos, and Berkeley, yes, America may have sucked for you in many ways, but it still sucks better than any other place in the world. And if you think the man here is bad, try being anything but a man over there. Yes, we're far from perfect, but they're worse. Worse when it comes to tolerance, worse when it comes to opportunity, worse when it comes to aroma. And as we all know, the only proper way to get back at the man is, and always will be, date his daughter. Okay, so speaking of terrorism and security, I was wondering why, can anybody tell me why, the current head of the FBI is in such hot water when he was only on the job 1 week before September 11th. He was getting his voicemail set up. And the last guy, Louis Freeh, among the things that happened on his watch, Waco, Ruby Ridge, the Olympic bombing, Richard Jewell, Eric Rudolph, Wen-Ho Lee. And by the way, when we talked about him about 2 years ago, it was because Louis Freeh had a baby. His wife had a baby while he was the head of the FBI, took 12 weeks maternity leave. And everyone argued with me on the panel, oh, Bill, you and your feminization of America, you're so crazy. Am I really that crazy? Should the head of the FBI be taking 12 weeks maternity leave off?
Well, people don't realize... One man is not a job.
What happened?
One man is not a job. He has 1 million people working under him.
But wait, there was no checks and balances, though, and people didn't know that.
that there was no one to cover, and that's the problem.
He's the head of the FBI. You're telling me that the head of the, when you have a job...
Well, they didn't even have freaking email. Do you know what I'm saying? They weren't communicating at all.
Well, maybe because he was asking his wife if her nipples were sore all day.
And were they?
Was his wife not at home? Or was she?
Was at home.
But that's the law. In 1993, they passed the Family and Medical Leave Act, which said you could take 12 weeks off for the birth of a newborn, adoption.
See, I don't think that that's such a bad thing that Louis Freeh took a paternity leave, but I think it's probably slightly insensitive that he named his newborn daughter Ruby Ridge Freeh. I mean, that's probably, that to me is more insensitive. You know,
Seriously.
Ollie Oxen was still available. He could have taken that name.
Well, typically people would not say there was a problem with that, but as a country, we didn't realize there was no communication. If we had known that, we would say, you take 3 days and come back. But we didn't know. We were naive. We didn't realize there was no communication at all between any of them. That's why these things happen.
Well, those are two different issues.
People that were spies for 15 years
Paternity
and we
leave
didn't know.
and lack of communication are two different issues. I mean, I agree. Looking in the industrial countries of Europe, they have 6 to 8 weeks of paid vacation every single year. Now, we as a country, we work very hard. We have a very good work ethic. But I think we're lacking in probably some of the other social areas that we do need to spend more time with our families. And I think an increased paid vacation should happen.
But he's the top dog. And to leave for, 3 months.
We're talking about the head of the FBI. What about the president? What if he had a baby? Could he take 12 weeks off?
Absolutely not.
Okay, even if the mother and father work, I'd like to see those 12 weeks, say, allocated evenly between the two of them. You know, they could take their days off at the same time, or maybe...
The concept of having paternity leave is not a bad one. It just needs to be worked out.
Well, it depends on the position as well. Yeah. He's the head of the FBI. Maybe we say more.
What? What's wrong?
Everyone is insane. That's what's wrong.
Oh, come on.
When you have a job like Little Richard, help me out on this. If you are the head of the Federal Bureau of Investigation,
I think you may be in line.
And you're wearing that suit, something's very wrong. Now, if you're head of the FBI, or I mentioned the presidency. I saw when Al Gore was running for president, he was on Oprah. Of course, they all had to go to Oprah and bow down to get the soccer mom vote, and she asked him, if you're the president of the United States and there's a family problem, what happens? He said, everything blows off my schedule. And right there I said, I am not voting for you, you pussy.
I wonder...
There's a balance. You want them to be there for the family, but you have to take into consideration what their position is. So if there's a balance, not 12 weeks.
If you have a job like head of the FBI or the President of the United States, put down the teething ring and get to the office. Plus, he's the man. Hello?
Yeah,
what does he have to do with it after the baby is born?
But see, that's spoken like
He didn't have nothing to do with it before it was born. He didn't have nothing to do with it. But I read about him. He had nothing to do with it.
Oh, he's saying that's not his baby.
No. Shut up.
Okay.
What he did was, he taking too long. My mother has 12 children. And that's just too long. If he's the head of something and they're going to need him, he didn't have no baby. He's not sick. It's nothing wrong with him. He wasn't doing anything when he was in there, and he sure ain't going to do nothing out of there. And so what he's taking a leave for all that time.
Right.
And he's needed in the office, and he's at...
And you find out later all these things fell between the cracks, and then you really wonder.
He went to the crack?
Cracks.
If your mom can do it, so can you.
Went to the crap.
All right, we're going to take a commercial and then...